Stick to the water, do we put it within?
Excuse me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Aaron.
Here.
Mr. Barron is absent. Mr. Christensen.
Present.
Mr. Frerick.
Here.
Mr. Gonfalves.
Present?
Ms. Lautner.
Present.
Mr. Noonan is absent. Mr. Popa.
Here.
Ms. Ross.
Here.
And Mr. Walters.
Thanks, Lori. Gets us down to public comment. Seeing none, hearing none, gets us to agenda additions and deletions.
Mr. Chairman, for whoever would make the motion to approve the minutes of June 7th, I had asked Mr. Noonan to please excuse me from that meeting because I had to run a tractor downstate. So he said, yeah, well, you'll be excused. But I'm marked as absent.
We'll put prior notice on that.
Prior notice would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay.
So we have one adjustment. Are there any others?
Oh, under Old Settlers, there'll be an update from Ms. Lautner regarding the Leelanau donation. So
What line is that, or what?
that's under Old Settlers or on B, 3B. We'll just add an update about the Leelanau donation.
Oh, for Old Settlers for the agenda. So that could be a second item for Old Settlers.
Could I also add something under Miles Kimmerly? Just a quick conversation about the gardens out at the Poor Farm Barn.
Oh, okay, sure, the Poor Farm Barn.
Mm-hmm.
Those will both fit nicely as added items for those committee reports. Any others? I'd entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda with the adjustments.
So moved. Popa.
Support?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We have an agenda.
Please ensure you talk into your microphones. It helps with the minutes.
Okay, item 1, approval of minutes. A, June 7th, regular session. And that was adjusted by Melinda.
If I can you looking for a motion for those minutes? I'll make a motion that they're approved as submitted with the one change being the prior notice.
Is there support?
Support.
We have a motion and support. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. All right, gets us to B, executive committee session. I'd entertain a motion.
Who's on the executive committee?
The officers.
So do you see any reason not to approve those minutes, Steve? You were there?
Yeah, I was there. I think they look good.
You were the only one there, so yeah.
Okay, well, I make a motion there. We approve them as submitted.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, gets us to C, July 5th executive committee session. I think they look good. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move the acceptance of the minutes from the July 5th meeting.
Support.
July 5th.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Gets us to the financials. Scott, you want to kind of lead us through a little bit?
Sure. We're at about 35%. To stand out.
Pull those up. So, So rental at 40% is right on track for, are you 4/10 of the way through your season?
Are we on track?
At 40%, your rentals, does that look? So, because it'll probably, we'll have a couple extra porta johns for this Sunday. Are those ordered and everything? So, okay. Uh-huh. And the roll off, good, okay. Now we're
At Old
one oh-
Settlers?
Yep, the big picnic is Sunday. So, why is travel at 106? Is just gas, travel's at 106%.
Travel, that's.
Oh, that's us. Nothing to see there, never mind. All right, so. Okay, yeah, membership and dues is like, did we get involved in something we hadn't planned on for memberships and dues?
Yeah, Casey asked me about that.
Last time.
Okay.
It's actually the state's water testing, and I don't know why it got thrown into.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Yeah, because there's been a lot of testing for the water, the SOS analyticals are, okay.
Shouldn't that be
It's a
contractual
quantity
services?
charge for each part, so
Mhm.
3 times 4.
Yep. And they've been coming through claims and accounts. I've seen them, so. Okay, so,
Is it
but
just supposed to be in contractual services?
that's what I wonder, because we should
Category
be,
above?
we should have budgeted
Yeah,
for them.
in the past, that's been charged someplace else.
Yep.
Membership dues,
Yes.
it seems like a
Yeah,
weird
that's the
mix.
weird.
It's a weird place for it.
I couldn't get any really-
I thought it was under contractual services the last time I saw it.
That's what I wondered too. Yeah, I think you two are right on that, because we're only at 24%, and amended budget's 18,000, so I'll bet that's where they're supposed to be. That would make sense. Okay. All right, now you'd have you have an estimate here for stands. That'll be separate, won't it? So, okay.
Anything else with the financials? I'm assuming we can look at an adjustment on that membership and dues between now and maybe the next meeting or whatever.
Yeah, well, we gotta do. He wasn't involved yet, or anything, he was hired when I asked the question.
We can check with you and finance director to see why it was.
Yeah.
That would be great, Laurel, I think.
Anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll check with you.
Okay. Anything else on the financials? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved, Popa.
Second.
To accept the financials.
Popa Walter, I think. Got it? Okay.
Committee reports, it gets us down to
Aye.
Miles.
So after someone made the effort to call me and ask me what we could do about promoting pickleball at Miles. I said, well, anyone's always welcome to forward a letter of support and Mr. So I said, I will include those as part of the next meeting package, so you can see the interest. I think it ranged from someone wanting 16 courts.
16.
Yeah, it was like someone godly, you know.
Yeah, we're at 10.
Oh, my gosh.
I think it's an attempt to influence
nice
the
letters.
board.
Yeah, it's good to know their support.
People bring it up to me weekly, wanting to know where they can play or what's going on.
Still popular.
Planning on doing anything.
Yeah.
Pickleball courts are very popular, and the biggest objection I've heard downstate up here is the noise factor with a ping, ping. But at Miles Kimberly, I don't think there are houses around there. Maybe the horses would be scared of it, but I don't think so. So I don't think it's an issue, but it's money. The average court costs 20 to 25,000, I think, to build. So it's it's where our priority is. What are we going to do? And then we're waiting. Well, it's not my turn to talk about the committee. Yeah, right. No, I'll stop there.
It's good input.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that quite a range of ages can be involved in pickleball, which is pretty neat to have it be so family oriented, to have so many different.
Yeah, it is
There was a
popular.
family today in Miles,
The other half,
pickleball on the tennis courts, but they were, grandpa right out on the street.
the other hazard is there's a lot of ER visits because of pickleball. There's more injuries relative to what you think. That's what I've heard anyway, or read anyway.
So I think, anything else on the letters?
I like the letters. Sutton's Bay has pickleball courts on their park, and that's just about where everybody goes. I think we should put it in our plan. It doesn't have to be, there might be something that's more important, but at least it's there with a ballpark estimate of, I don't know, so much, and just put it in our plan for Miles Kimberly. That,
It is.
is it,
Yeah, it's already in the proposal.
with a dollar value and everything?
Well, they're working on it. Kevin Krogelecki forgot.
I read the letters and they said we kind of liked the plan and stuff, but I don't
We're
recall,
not looking at, we're working on a new plan. They're looking at a new.
are they, but it was, apparently must have been in there.
Yeah. The conceptual design for Miles Kimberly that's in the current plan shows 6 pickleball courts.
Oh.
And that goes way back, even before pickleball was really popular. It's more popular now that it's.
It
other
is
things are
popular.
Popular too.
And I think Steve mentioned it, a lot of ages use it. It's used for this all the way up to elderly people.
My mom's 90, she's still playing.
You're lucky.
No kidding. Isn't that something?
Wow.
But anyway, I think it should be in that plan, and if they're working on a plan, we should have it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the county commissioners should know that they need to spend money on parks.
This might be a good point to mention that there's a rural readiness grant program.
I know what?
There's a rural readiness grant program.
Oh,
And Trudy very kindly spearheaded the effort to apply for a grant ready position, which would be a contractual position here. And if we do get it awarded, then that would be something that we can have them tasked with, finding some grant funds.
yes.
Excellent.
In the meantime, we could ask for 2% grant dollars.
Sure.
It's got a December award.
Especially for something like that.
Yeah, especially if we've got letters of support, we could tell them people are encouraged by
And you
it.
don't want to forget those letters of support, but you're right, that would be a good little bullet to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
If you needed, some drafting on that, I could,
If you needed some drafting on that, I could do the drawings.
So, okay, well, I think in general, kind of by consensus, everybody is looking forward and the plan's going to be coming through for Miles, and I believe we've expressed in our walk around and overall our need to have some pickleball courts in the future of the park, so that's a perfect spot to start.
What's our timeline on the plan?
Well, that's a good question. I
Yeah.
kind of was expecting it to be done by now.
Well, we have not heard back from Gosling Kuvak yet about an update of the Miles Kimberly Park plan, but the pickleball thing is in there. It's a good letter writing campaign that people that use it from Glen Arbor, really want it because of the overflow. So I wouldn't, I'm in favor of the pickleballs, but I don't know that you want to put it at the top of the list just because we got a lot of letters. That was just,
No.
the people that play pickleball, they want more courts because they're waiting around to play.
Unless they want to donate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true too. That's a good point.
The Fayetteville Trail is always been here.
We're kind of
Exactly.
waiting on the
That's
plan
first.
so that our committee can kind of prioritize and say, well, what do we feel is most important, given the update of the plan? So that's holding us up, so we're kind of in limbo. We're not doing much of anything. The other thing that happened in the past month or two is we had a risk management assessment, and I think that went pretty well. They found a lot of, I appreciated all the problems that we do have in Miles Kimberly, just on maintenance of the park to make it up to grade to be risk-free, whatever that means. And that costs a lot of money too. So it all boils down to where's the money, in my opinion. I think that's probably about all I had.
Don,
One question, Mr. Chairman. There doesn't have to be a discussion on that, but for the commissioners, where are we with respect to that agreement we have with Casbin on his waste field and stuff?
He can't, go ahead.
They've been actually working on it. They're pulling trees out right now. They did test sticks probably 2 months ago. So, I haven't spoken with them. I just.
So it's in progress.
But it's in progress.
Yeah,
Commissioner
they
said
reported
for them
to the
get out,
board,
we gave them
yeah.
that letter.
Yep, it's,
So he's moving, okay.
Yeah.
It's just a curiosity thing. I haven't been to any.
It's good we took action when we did, because if Commissioner Rex wrote, hadn't stated, you need to come back with a plan, this is the time, if we don't hear from you, then you might not let it go to the side.
Yeah.
And there you are, I mean, that was the kick in the pants they needed.
Good place for some racquetball courts.
That trail through there.
Yeah.
What, Steve, I have one more thing. I'm sorry. I think we all get this from Laurel. She sent this thing around about Salon Township and having a visioning and planning session. It's 3 different sessions, actually, July, August, and September, about updating their park. And, I know we talked about not spending the money on that, but I don't know if there's money involved in that. After we get the update of the plan for Miles Kimberly, maybe it's not a bad thing to have something of this nature to really get some good feedback from all the players that use the park, to come in and tell us what you think and then listen to what they have to say. And maybe a lot of pickleball players will show up, and I hope they do, but some other people might show up that want something else, and we should kind of listen and be aware of that before we spend what limited money we do have. And I agree with John, we need more money from you guys.
We're trying.
Commissioners.
Okay.
Don, did you have, when you were out with the MMRIA insurance van, did you talk about the proposed ice rink at Miles
I
Kimberly?
think that maybe was touched on, but I can't, Scott?
No.
Just Scott and I were there, we didn't,
Never got brought out.
no, we didn't.
I wondered about that when I read about the ice rink.
I did mention it.
But exactly, I think that's an easy
Okay.
answer.
Well, I still think we need to get an answer though, before we drag Dan out any longer.
Gosh, it's already.
What's that?
I did
I heard
mention
it
it.
was a no-go.
Oh,
so
really? already?
I just took,
Well, we'll see.
grapevine, so.
Some years ago, we had a rink at,
Yeah, what?
at Miles Kim, we had an ice rink at Miles
Oh, yeah,
Kimberly
yeah.
some years ago. But it
For
was on
figure
the
skating and stuff.
other side of the road. You know, it's on the main park side. And they used to do sledding there too. They had, you know,
It was a warming shed.
yep,
grub shed.
yep, Grub Shack was a warming shed and,
Well, we
Yeah,
don't have a
so-
grub shed anymore.
right, right.
I think to
But they
put
got
an
some
ice,
awesome tents now.
to put an ice rink in that corral area, not the corral area, that circle up
The
there,
arena,
I think it's an excellent idea because it kills the weeds, and then it'll be ready for the spring. And I'm going to try to get those ladies that use the horses over there to use that a little more maybe. And, we could develop that maybe a little better than we have. So, I mean, that's
Well, we'll
something I'm
see.
planning on working on anyway. And we
I
do
like
need,
the
we need
idea.
water and stuff. I did mention it offhand when the Terry and Scott were there. We were up there and I offhandedly mentioned it. It was just an offhand comment that, we're going to have an ice rink up there.
Two things. Somebody mentioned the night skating is popular, and it
Yeah.
really is. It's just a really cool thing to do. I like the idea of just ice skating, but what tends to happen is you got two things going on. One is ice hockey is super popular, so the ice hockey kids want to come in, and ice skating and ice hockey don't mix very well. But the ice hockey people are usually the ones that are snow blowing and cleaning off the rink and this and that. So if we ran it as an ice rink and the volunteers were doing it as an ice rink so that, you new young skaters could come in and have a place to safely learn how to ice skate, I think that's awesome. And at that point, then we should do the lights somehow on some tall
You
poles.
could have a night or two for hockey or something.
Absolutely.
Tuesday
It's
night
a
hockey.
schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday's hockey,
I'm
yeah,
sure
whatever.
Leland and
Tuesday,
Sutton
Thursday's
Spade
hockey,
figured that out.
whatever, yeah.
And these hockey
Damn.
players play in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh, that would work.
And they want to rink.
Sutton's Bay has a well-developed ice skating rink, and they seem to coordinate the freestyle skating with the hockey players. And they have a good backup of people that help on that.
Yeah, I witnessed that myself. I took my granddaughters up there to skate, and they were playing hockey, but they were very gracious to allow us to skate on the one end. They were really, really nice. And they were snow blowing it and sweeping it and shoveling it, and the hockey people were working hard, so. Yeah, it can be done.
So, Camo, Poor Farm.
Yeah, I was out at the Poor Farm yesterday, met with Chris Gellinger, who does Row by Row, the gardens there that produce food for our food rescue locally and for some food banks down in the Detroit area. Very productive farm with a slew of talented volunteers in the garden. Was quite impressive. Steve Steyer, who's with the barn, was also there. And I brought over Kate Thornhill, who is the person who directs the Leo Creek Preserve that has a wonderful composting educational display and composting bins. So we just had a conversation, nothing formal, but just talked about collaborating with the Poor Farm, Miles Kimberly, the Solid Waste Council, the parks, and then Leo Creek to add an educational component to the gardens that would also, when visitors came to see the garden, they'd be able to learn how to compost. Chris and his crew of volunteers would maintain the compost. It wouldn't be open to anyone bringing in material. They talked about maybe tucking it kind of on the north side of the barn that wasn't super obvious as you're driving by. It was just a conversation. They're very interested in it. We also talked about a 4-H club, and I just talked to the 4-H program coordinator here, and she's all excited about it. So I just see this kind of encompassing a bunch of different county and nonprofits in the area that could really make Miles Kimberly even a little bit more vibrant than it already is. But I'm just excited to further the conversation. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I think it's in keeping with the mission. I know it's in keeping with the barn, the Poor Farm barn, the gardens, that 2 acres that they lease from Miles Kimberly. And I believe the Solid Waste Council will think it's a great idea too. So Just any thoughts?
That's exciting. I appreciate what you're
Oh,
doing.
good, yeah, you know how,
Tie and everything.
yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, so, yeah, I'll keep you posted, but, again, Steve is, who I'm kind of working through, I guess, for that, so.
Are they currently composting there?
Yeah, they just do cold composting, they just have a pile, basically. But we're thinking about just a 3 with pallets, just make a 3 bin.
How far away is that from the nursing home?
From the what?
From the nursing home? How far away?
Next door.
Oh, it is next
Have you
door.
been around when they stir a compost
Oh, this
pile?
is this is just a little bit. No food waste would be going. No, this is just gonna be for garden waste and, probably some, maybe if, we can get some green clippings from, the park or something, but no, we're not talking about bringing in food waste, because you got crows on the other side.
Yeah.
That's.
No.
it's
No, we're
pretty
talking
nasty.
we're talking about just backyard family style, yeah, very low impact, so, yeah. So, yeah, just an update on that, so I'll keep you
Thank you,
posted.
Pam. It's nice to be able to piggyback and get more miles for the buck.
We'll see.
So that's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Gets us down to Old Settlers Park Committee.
Okay. I guess the first thing I will talk about is we did have the risk assessment at the park. There were only a couple of major notes that I would bring up without seeing the final report. One is, we recognized the degradation of the gazebo and the need for some imminent maintenance on it. So that was the first thing he mentioned. The second thing was the condition of the materials under the playground equipment and whatnot. I guess obviously the material over time erodes and just essentially becomes soil. And it's at that point now where he was possibly going to recommend that we remove it and replace it with new material to the right depth, because we're losing the protective factors that would happen if somebody falls on it. It's not as bouncy as it should be. At least that was the inspector's note for that. So those are the only 2 main things that came out of that.
Because that's just, is it 2 years old, the chips under that? Just a year, yeah, so that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I think he was going below, we actually added the new material on
Yeah.
top of old material. And I
Okay.
think he was going down below it, but
No, it's
All new.
all new right down there.
Okay.
Year old.
I mean, we need to investigate some other materials opposed to what we use, because this stuff is degrading fast.
They were engineered wood chips, right? You got special chips.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was special about it. It's just been scanned multiple times for metals.
Oh.
That's,
Okay. Yeah,
So it still erodes and corrodes or whatever as fast as.
I know that what we might do is, it's at Solon, we put a brand new playground in and we put wood chips down, and that was just, I think that was, well, it might have been 2 years ago. So this year we brought in another truckload of wood chips. But we just got, Deering's tree service are really, really nice, and they're very reasonable. They may bring us a truckload, but we did a volunteer workday. Volunteers spread them all. And we could maybe get something like that done at Old Settlers.
Deering's actually buys those from somewhere
Okay,
and brings them up. It's not
Yeah.
good chips.
okay.
They
I
don't
know,
have the capability to screen it.
oh, they can't screen it. I was gonna say they chipped a bunch on my farm, and it was a whole truckload, but maybe they did send it downstate and bring it back then or something, but I don't know.
Actually, there was one other point. Currently, there's no wood chips and whatnot underneath the swing set.
Mm-hmm,
And he says add that material under that also,
okay.
for twice the distance of the length of the swing.
Well, those are character building swing sets. They've been there for years.
That's a good way
Anyway,
to put it.
that was the comment on that.
Twice the distance of the height.
The height of the swing set, yeah.
Wow, that would go clear out into the road.
That's like 24 feet on either side.
Yeah,
You look at miles, change purpose, but the whole playground would be under wood chips.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's moving on to the Stan's Dozer service invoice. It's actually not an invoice, it's an estimate. Included in the budget for this year is the $10,000 to do the sideline road work at the park. So this essentially is an estimate from Stan's Dozer about providing the gravel and the equipment essentially to do that work. We did include in the work an extended parking in front of the portal johns, where you normally put them for the picnic. We would actually level that area out and create an area to put those porta
That
johns
would be
on.
nice. Yeah. Okay.
Because right now it's kind of an unlevel surface there.
You talked about doing permanent.
Right, right,
Yeah.
yeah. So that would be nice.
And that would be a future thing, is to put the permanent johns in there with an enclosure.
Well, I just had some work done and this looks to me like a really reasonable estimate considering, what I just got, with what I just paid to have some work done. The only thing I would add to this is remind him that he did say he could bring us some big boulders and I think he's going to donate those. So have him throw the big boulders that are going to go in. Well, MMRMA might not like it because they're going to be in front of the swing sets. So where the cars park, between where the cars park and the swing sets, we need to do something there. And he thought big boulders would work.
Laurel, do you have something to add about what we, going forward with this estimate now, what the next steps are?
Well, because of the cost of the estimate, you're gonna wanna get at least 2 or 3 more.
Yeah,
And then
3.
you have a selection.
We can call these a quotes. And if we get, being that this one is under 5,000, if we get 3 quotes, we have the option of choosing one of the quotes and going with it. I think it's a recommendation to the county board, and the administrator can sign off, rather than going through a formal bid process through Mitten and all of that. So it's a pathway for us to get this done more quickly. I guess I would entertain a motion to make a recommendation to the county board.
Well, we should really have some additional.
I'm assuming that Casey's got them, or is it the
He said he
process of
just
getting?
had one.
He knows he needs to get 2 more.
Our next meeting will be the first Tuesday in September. We can add it to the September board agenda for the board for approval. We really need,
But we need 2 more quotes, minimum.
Any more quotes, because we need an approval from the board.
Should go for quotes.
Yeah.
I don't-
Yeah, go ahead, I mean, rather than bugging everybody for quotes without you guys saying, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do it.
You can get quotes without going to the board.
You guys.
So do we want to go forth with this
We make
project?
the recommendation to the county board,
Project.
and we know that we need 3 quotes when we are in front of them.
Casey and I did not get more quotes until we had a firm response from you guys.
From
Yep.
Parks and Rec Commission.
So we
See,
need,
and I'm assuming, talking to Casey, I think getting 2 more would not be a problem.
you don't really need a motion at this point because you're in a kind of an information gathering position right now. So we can add it to the September agenda to address. We just need someone to go out and get 2 or 3 more quotes.
By consensus, we can just tell them we'll get a couple.
So
of
this can be in front of the county board without a
It's
vote
just
from this
like an
board?
RFP process. I don't have to go to the board to say, can I go out for an RFP?
Right.
We just do it.
Right.
And we'll bring it back, and then they determine whether or not they want to go through with the project.
So getting a couple more quotes, we should get it and have it ready.
So we don't need a motion and a vote from this, from this?
Next month, when you have all your documentation.
Oh, okay,
then
wait a
we'll-
month, wait a month.
September.
Well, by consensus, get 2 more quotes.
Okay, I would say so
I
too.
can't guarantee I can, but I'll try.
Please.
I'm gonna be
See,
gone.
well, it seemed like Casey, yeah, it seems like Casey had the ability to do that too.
Casey can.
Okay. Onward with 2 more quotes. Stands, okay.
and the next item is the update on the status of the Lanham donation?
Yes, so the Lanhams are moving forward with the prayer bench in memory of Nancy and John Lanham. They were unable to secure the same builder that built the Binsfield bench, but they did happen to find another artist to build one. It would be slightly different, like it may not have the back on it like the Binsfield. And a lot of the prayer benches actually don't have that. They're like the stone legs and then the flat top, like that. So that's what they're moving forward with. They've lined him up, and he is ready to proceed mid-month. They were hoping to have it done by the picnic this Sunday, but he's going to start mid-month instead. So, and all the stones will be off John and Nancy Lanham's farm there in Casson Township. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this person must split stone then too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Right.
So is there
Thank
any-
you.
Is there anything that this board needs to do to proceed with any of that? Or-
No, we've already got approval on the bouncer, which we're behind in getting ordered. I really wanted that installed by Sunday too. We don't have it yet. So we're going to get going on getting the ladybug. It's going to end up being a ladybug. We really wanted a bunny, but the only bunny we could find was actually a retro one, and I think it was wooden from the 50s, and that just isn't going to cut it with MMRMA. So it would have been awesome. But the ladybug is okay with the family, so we're going to proceed with that. And that would be, we picked the spot when we were out there, which will be near the swing set and new play set. And then the gazebo does need some maintenance, and it also is in dire need of some new landscaping. And Lori Lyman, who did the last big general plan for that park, is willing to meet with me over there. She has some ideas on what we might do for some of that shrubbery and stuff. So I just have to carve out a couple hours in a day and meet her over there and see what she has to say before she goes back south.
Excellent. And all these donations have already gone through the county board, right?
Mm-hmm. We're
Yeah.
all set with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the new process. We
Yep.
can receive them here and then we pass them along. And the county board has a special procedure now.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's cool. Anything else on Old Settlers?
Other than the picnic, if you don't know about the picnic and if it's a nice day and you can come, it really is a great event. You buy your dinner there, you buy a dinner ticket and you get your dinner there, and
How much is the tickets, Jim?
I know Jim always buys them, so it all goes right for the event itself. There's music, and they have prizes for the oldest and prizes for the youngest and prizes for the longest married. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. They have some old cars always. So a lot of old families there. It's really cool to see. A lot of new families there. So,
Excellent.
and there's a lot of history. If you read about this park and the very first Old Settlers picnic, which was like around the turn of the century, right? And somebody actually left behind a baby girl.
What?
Yep, at the picnic. They left their baby there.
On
And
purpose?
I think so. Yeah, well, clearly, yeah. And then she was adopted, and there's like an interview of her in there later.
Oh,
She was
my
raised
word.
by one of the local families after that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my word.
So hasn't happened since, fortunately. But
Well,
I look under the trees every year and make sure the baby's there.
I was talking with Al Steinmel, and he was reiterating an old-timey story from that same general time frame. And a family that was in very, very dire straits had lost one of the parents, and the other parent just left. And so there was a house with like 4 kids in a community, kind of mid-county, and the neighbors got together and they divvied up the kids, in essence,
That's how it was
adopted
done.
them physically with not paperwork. And so
Right.
the kids went to live with the different families in that area and grew up as those family members, and
Yeah.
it was, it's not so strange.
No, happens.
And the kids were taken care of. It was just, I thought, pretty heartwarming to hear the story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Communities step up. And the thing I forgot too, there's, and I think they're still doing it, I think it's 10 a.m., you can get in the old chapel, there's actually a church, a little service, a little Christian service and hymns and stuff like that. It's always quite,
Oh, cool.
very, very quaint and nice, so. Anyway, that's Sunday, first Sunday in August, always, so. That's it.
Cool. All right. Gets us down to Veronica Valley. And I think there was some activity. John had to leave apparently.
Yep.
Yeah, apparently.
Ms. John and Scott can fill us in on what's been going on a little bit.
Okay, one of the objectives has been to be able to place concrete pad and establish a barrier-free porta-john. So I went out there this Monday and laid out the parking lot in gravel and spray painted that so we would all understand it. Scott was there, John Popa, Dave, and myself, the four of us, to discuss location, came to an agreement on the location for the parking lot, and then set it out, measured it, and put stakes on it for in the future, which it might happen in October, but Dave was interested at least establishing that point and talking about barrier-free situations. We also talked about privacy to the barrier-free, and it was decided to not try to visually enclose that area. It's more of a safety feature not to have it enclosed than the privacy issue.
What's the safety issue? Why is it a safety issue?
Because someone could hide in the screening.
Okay. A bad guy? Is that what
A
we
bad guy.
Bad guy.
Yes.
I think Dave talked to some organization and they recommended not putting the screens up.
Yeah, you know, now, all the new restrooms now don't have outside doors, right? It's all, they're safer.
I know like at Old Settlers, a lot of women were kind of freaked out because it was a solid barrier. They couldn't see the doors. So then that all rotted out and they replaced it with lattice. It's a lot better. You can actually kind of see behind it. You know, if there's something hanging out.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
That's interesting. So, so there are lines and you,
So we can see it if we drive in there. Can we see where you're thinking about?
And there's four wood posts about 3 feet high that mark out the corners. Yes, if you drive in, you'll be the far right corner.
Perfect.
In the parking lot, you can see where it's kind of sprayed in. Might
Okay.
be still there.
Yeah, okay.
Kids like to do donuts in that park.
Oh, good.
so there is some staking to preserve the work you did.
Oh,
So that can be
yes.
preserved. It'll be there when we need it, so to speak.
It wouldn't be hard to replicate it. We have a drawing of the floor plan and the base location.
Okay. So is there a chance to get the concrete work done? How do we proceed with that, I guess would be the question.
Jerry's gonna do it.
Does it fit into the category of maintenance that we could move forward with? Or do we have, how do we have to proceed as a group?
Pretty cheap to do.
So it's less than $2,000 total?
I don't know what the price concrete is.
Because there's a $2,000 plateau it's less than $2,000, there's some flexibility in
Well,
what we're doing.
change the budget goals that we're taking this year, it's actually a little bit higher than
So if it's less than like 3,500, there's some
that.
flexibility.
It's like 4,500 because it went up.
So I could sign off for something to happen. We would just need the cost of the concrete then, and then the materials for the framing. If you could get some numbers to me, then I can, well, it sounds like it's something we could just do. It'd be nice to get that done. Spend a little bit of our money.
The new porta john is kind of hexagonal, is about $2,500. And the pad is about 10 by 15, it's 150 square feet. So, even if that was $10 a square foot, which shouldn't be for concrete, that's $1,500. So I'm quite sure we're under your limit of the budget.
Yeah, if you could sketch those numbers out for me,
Okay,
then,
I can do that.
yeah, that'd be good. Maybe we can move forward with that then. There was the Kids Fish Day. Was that in between, or was that reported on last meeting?
Yeah, that should have been
Probably.
before
It
the
was
last.
June 30th.
So, I don't know if there's any reporting on that, or was it reported on already?
Well, we haven't had a meeting since.
Right.
the beginning.
So
Well, I
I-
heard the fish weren't biting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a gorgeous day. I don't know how many, absolutely, yeah, they were catching some little ones. I had 7 grandkids there. It was great. They loved it. They had the amphibian display, and, yeah, it was great. It was great. They were happy just getting little nibbles and catching some kind of fish. I have no idea what they were.
And that was interesting. I think Dave mentioned the same thing. There was kind of a universal why aren't the fish biting kind of a thing, which is kind of curious. I don't know.
It was curious, and as I was walking around, I had talked to Heather,
Oh,
to
okay.
give him an answer, because it was I don't know anything about
I
fishing
think it
really.
was too hot and sunny.
Yeah,
That's what I
but it
think.
would have been nice to have like a Blair, like, or some sort of announcement or something, because I think they were kind of feeling sad, the kids. It was cute, but it was great. I mean, that's the way fishing is, right? Sometimes they bite and sometimes they don't.
It was cute because it would be like a hole on the north side of the pond, and there's some trees where it was shaded, and they would be biting in there, and all of a sudden there'd be like 10 kids all bring their poles over to, because they were biting in that one spot, and they quit biting, but it was cute. It was great. It was still a great event. I don't know about numbers, but I would guess it almost record. They were everywhere.
Oh, I thought Alan thought it was down a little bit.
Did he? Okay,
I think
that could
that's what he
be.
said, yeah.
Maybe from
Was it?
last year. 'Cause last year might have been a record year.
They go by hot dogs, that's how they judge your attendance.
Right. But, I mean, it was hard to get a spot on a bank that wasn't kids, so it was,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, it sounded pretty successful. And Heather's take was it was too sunny for the fish to bite kind of thing?
Too warm.
Oh, too warm.
The water was
Okay.
too warm. The
Oh, I
fish were
see.
down deep and not interested in eating
Oh, I'll be darned.
their worms, because they fed them a lot of worms.
There was a lot of worms fed. I agree with that. A lot of worms fed.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
But
Yeah.
the next weekend I saw people in there fishing. I mean, not that people are people, but others were fishing after that. Like, it was the very next week I drove by, a few days later anyway. And there was a lot of, I would guess there was about 4 cars in there, and they all looked like they were fishing. So,
Yeah, it's, I think you probably see a lot of people coming and going through the whole season fishing. It's quite an attraction, I guess.
Yeah. Most of the people there are walking dogs, but I ran into a family, I think it was a family, I don't know, I didn't ask. Grandpa and a bunch of boys, young, might have been a Cub Scout troop or something, I don't know. I asked him how the fishing was, and he said, we've been slaying them. They were on the hunt line.
Oh,
Wow.
they were doing
They
well.
caught like 40 fish.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
They're throwing them all back.
Sure. That's interesting. Well, you know, just to have the capability to go somewhere and fish with kids is pretty special. That's nice. Anything else with Veronica Valley? Gets us down to public comment. Seeing none, hearing none. Commissioner comments.
I have one. I do need to ask to be absent with prior notice for the September meeting. I will be out of town that day. And I was going to see if we could maybe move the meeting, but it's not going to work that we're in line for everything we have to do on executive with those approvals and stuff. So I'll just miss that meeting. I don't have any other way around it.
So when does the budget process for this particular group come to the board? I mean,
The executive committee met, they discussed what they want to present for next year.
it's already been
They
done.
submitted it to finance.
Okay.
So it would be part of the board's formal budget work sessions.
Okay. But
When
when
is
I,
that? Is that, there's a month that happens?
Starting in
Meeting will be August
August.
15th. We're still in the process of
August
setting
15th.
the dates.
but this committee won't come to us special like a department head would.
It might, it depends on if the board requests them to come forward to go through their formal request for 2020.
Casey and Steve have been before us
Have you?
to get answers.
This goal was pretty unique as far as requests, so I
So
wouldn't be surprised that they'll be calling
Yeah.
representatives from this group to discuss what we've requested.
So it'll probably be after our next meeting though, after September 3rd?
Probably.
So we'll have a chance to kind of talk.
That's my guess. We're not going to do anything before then, I
Okay.
don't think. I would guess.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing from Don saying, we need more money, or everyone's saying we need more money, so we need to
Well,
make
that's an
sure.
interesting comment, though.
Well, we need a philosophy change, a mindset change. It's not the money, it's where do
The
you,
priority.
if we have money, where do we want to spend that money? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to fight for more money for the
Yeah, well,
parks.
we've got,
I don't know I'll be successful, but I just need information. I mean, I need facts and I need
Well,
passion
the,
I will give you all the facts.
okay.
well, we did have the minutes.
Yeah, but I didn't
from,
see anything clearly.
July 5th. And then,
It's important we
Noonan reviewed the
prioritize
final,
before we bring it to you. We can't say we got 10 projects, please give us the money. We have to
Noonan,
have a plan, and that's what we're waiting on Councilman Kuzic for, to look at that, and to then formulate what we want to do based on what they think is important and what we think is important, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, we've been waiting in the wings for the $100,000 for the mile loop at Miles Kimmerly. And that's interesting. We should name it the MYLE loop, shouldn't we? The mile loop at Miles Kimmerly. But our capital budget is never enough to cover that, right? So we've always said, well, we need the capital budget, but we'd really like this other $100,000 to do the mile loop. That's, that it's been understood that it has to be a gift of the commission. And that's the way it's been for a number of years. So I'm all for us coming up with it somehow if we can.
Is there any ARP money left over?
Not right now. We were hoping to get some more of that. And then I think there would be. We have the commitment, $1.8 million committed yet for the fiber. And we have to cover that. And a couple other things have come down the pike.
And that's important, I appreciate that, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just look at parks, you have to look at the big picture, but there's a sense amongst a lot of people in this group that the parks are, the poor sister in the whole organization.
So that's where my question comes, because on page 10 of the July 5th Executive Committee meeting, it states, Chairman Noonan stated that 55 is the proposed fiscal year 2024 budget for parks, and that he would not be asking for an increase. So,
I
Well,
wasn't there.
then the
Go to the next page.
page 11 though, I mean, capital outlay requests, these are what I think went forward from Casey. Repair of the gazebo, 40,000. Enclosure at Veronica Valley for the Porta Johns, 35,000. Purchase of new playground equipment, Miles, 20,000. Extension of the Veronica Valley Loop Trail over Mackinac Bridge, Phase 1, 40,000. Construction of a standalone kiosk at Miles Kinley Park, 5,000. So those went through, and you'll see
But
those.
as capital outlays, not as
Capital
part of
outlay,
the,
that's
That's
part of the budget.
140,000.
You know, our typical budget is like 55,000
55,
for
yeah.
capital outlay, and these items total a lot more than that. So I think the county board is gonna have to kind of do a little pick and choose, and I don't know exactly how they're gonna
but don't you think
probably
we should
call,
pick and choose
probably
that?
call us in front of them to
Yeah.
help them pick and choose.
I guess
don't
my
know.
comment is that it would be nice if we agree that what we're going to prioritize as a commit, as,
Yeah, and I forget our discussion going in, I don't know what we had, the meeting prior to the executive. It was like a regular meeting, and then we went to executive,
That was in June.
and you
That
stuck
was-
around.
but then this was in July when it was just the three of you, yeah.
I mean, we
So-
really didn't have the budget documents to prepare the budget in the first executive meeting go around, whatever that date of that first meeting was.
Yeah.
Casey then got them and called the second meeting almost as soon as he got them. What's in this July 5th is essentially what the discussions from that meeting. Recognizing that we normally have 55,000, we don't, it's gonna be tough to get more than 55,000, but we did lay out, these are the priorities. These are the items on page 11, especially adding the special request of 200,000 for the loop trail and 14,000, which actually is for the park master plan for all three parks, not just the Miles Kimmerly, which was actually on page 10. I didn't pick that up as an error the first time.
Yeah.
So I think the comment is interesting, and I think, maybe we can adjust our process somewhat, because as it is now, it's kind of tossed at the executive committee to come up with this from our general discussions through the year, and then there's a packet, and it comes out this week, and then 2 weeks later, it needs to go back, so the executive committee talks about it and either puts that together, or the chair of the exec actually writes it out and submits it. So that process maybe could use a little tweaking. So,
And it
and
it also doesn't sync up with the CIP process.
That's, yeah.
so maybe some
Yeah.
discussions, you get together and maybe talk about how we can do a better job doing
But
that
the beauty of
process.
this is if I understand what you've done, it's a budget, you've asked for 55,000, but you haven't said it's, 25,000 to do this project and it's 30,000 to do this project. What you've said is, these are the projects we'd like to do. We're only asking for 55,000. We will get something done off this list, and we will prioritize what that will be. So
But
it will.
55 won't do much. I mean, that's.
No, and trust, and that's up.
Won't do, yeah, so.
That's up a little bit. It's probably 55 and then 5 for 5,000.
4,000 for that, capital projects less than 5,000.
Okay, it's
It's
$4,000.
$4,000.
Okay, so almost $60,000.
Total 59.
Is that
Yeah.
55 up from last year?
So,
Yeah, it's the same as last year,
County
but
Board
that
of
was up from the
Commissioners would have
previous
to decide to
No, because we can come back and say, well, here.
double our capital
Oh, yeah, we
outlay
can say, well, look at
budget.
here.
and to get more of these items in,
Mhm.
at least we have the opportunity for the county board to say, gosh, you know, we need to throw some more money at this because look at all the items that they need. So I don't pretend to know what the county board's process is, but at least we put it in front of them this time.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what they raised at the music festival at the gazebo? Have we heard what the donations were for that? Mm-hmm.
I know it went very well. I talked to Dave Tejon, and that the Empire Fund got, I think he said 3,000. And that was split to about 3 or 4 different groups. So if he got
Good.
3, you might have
Okay.
been like 12,000 total, so.
Just throwing
Without
$5 to
knowing the
$10
number.
into a basket?
I talked to Chet, he was there, he said it was very well attended,
Yeah,
everybody was having a great.
'cause I saw some social media stuff and it looked like they just had a really great time and
From
very.
my angle, I went there the day after, 2 days after, one day, and the park was spotless.
So it just crosses my mind. I don't
They did a great
know,
job of cleaning up and everything else.
do they get the band donated? Do you know?
I don't know.
Didn't get into the specifics.
It's going to be interesting if we held that event there and passed the bucket for park fixing upping, you know, because people love that event, and events like that.
I
Yeah.
see the old
Get the
poor
fabulous
barn,
hot
same
dogs,
thing.
get the
You can
band.
have events
Is
there.
that who played? Was it the Fabulous Horn Dogs?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we got quite a bit of commissioner comment.
I have one last sort of picayune procedural question.
Shoot,
I was wondering, even though the agenda was approved, item 3B, where it says Stan Stozer service invoice, I think we might want to, as a public publishing thing, we ought to make sure we get that changed to estimate.
oh, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not an invoice.
It is not an invoice,
Yeah, I
and they
brought
might
that
be
up.
wondering why they haven't gotten paid.
Good point, good point. I'm good. I'd entertain a motion.
To adjourn.
Let's adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Support.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, thank you.
I didn't catch who made the motion and who seconded it.
I made the motion.
I second it, maybe.
There were several who made the motion. We're good, thank you.
It was unanimous.
Yeah, by unanimous consent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, we keep thinking
I
we're
missed
buying
on the minutes
300,000
from
to
the
do that
executive meeting.
room in the basement.
Was this here,
Let's just
this
add
item
the
here on
rest of
page
the
10. God about
land
suggested
or
the additional
broadband
expense
and all.
updating.
Well,
It wasn't the miles Kimberly plan, it's all the plans.
We don't have it. And I see what you're saying.
It's on number 10 of the July 5th meeting.
So what do we owe on that? What was our problem?
Yeah, that's, yeah, all essentially, you
Is
know,
that in the-
our park plan ends,
We always have.
expired.
Well, yeah, I pulled that out.
We always
And,
promised it.
they're-
If they-
And then that was also
recommending
on the
not
second
doing
page
it.
under Park Master
I
Plan
don't think
update.
money's really, like, well, we'll find it if we have to.